Hey friends, Chris and Tricia here from the porch. Glad to have you back with us today.
Yes,
Beautiful day. Are you enjoying Proverbs 31?
Yes.
I sure am.
Yes, I am. Learning a lot.
And we hope you'll comment and like and pass this on to a lot of people because I feel like this is really an important study. Yesterday we left off at verse 15 of Proverbs 31. I've got two verses for you in 1 Timothy that are really going to be important, I think, today. It says, though, she also rises yet at night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants. Now, Trace said, get me some maidservants. I believe God wants to prosper you so that the wife isn't just a person sitting in a kitchen by herself, but she's got an entire staff, and she becomes the CEO, the corporate executive officer of her home, and whatever other businesses God places before. But notice this, provides. 1 Timothy 5 and verse 8 is not about women. This is for the husband, and there's husbands watching.
Right. Okay. 1 Timothy 5 and 8. But if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever.
So we looked at the word household, that a husband is a house band. He bands it together.
Right.
The wife has a household. She holds the house together.
Right.
But think about that. If he doesn't provide for his own, the word provision is a very neat word, I think. If you look at its roots in Latin, pro, out ahead of, in front of. In other words, you're ahead of things. You're not trailing behind. Providiere, video. So provision is seeing the video well in advance. I think one of the benefits that parents have, and the reason God's anointed parents to take care of children, is because they've already seen what's going to happen. They've pre-played the video. Right. They know the consequences of A, B, and C is going to cause such and such. So provision is not just putting food on the table, is providing a faith, is providing a godly example, is providing a house, a home, it's providing a good name. Right. Proverbs 22 and 1 says a good name is more to be chosen than silver and gold. Right. So it's great to provide a good name. Yes. So that's an interesting word. Mm-hmm. And if a guy doesn't provide for his own, he's what?
He's worse than an unbeliever.
And King James says an infidel. When we think about an infidel, we're usually thinking about some drunk out there that has no fidelity to God or his family or anybody else. Well, listen, God has called Christian parents to be providers, not just of a sack of groceries, but an entire faith. Too many dads give their son teach him how to make a fortune, but don't teach him how to have a faith. So that's very important. Then verse 14 talks about the woman.
Okay.
And we're going to spend some time on that.
In 1 Timothy 5:14, therefore I desire that the younger widows marry, bear children, manage the house.
Manage the house. Read that again.
Therefore I desire that the younger widows marry, bear children, manage the house, give no opportunity to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Okay,
you're going to think, there they go, manage the house. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about corporate management, stewardship, being large and in charge. And I think ladies watching would like to hear that. So let's look at this word, manage the house. It's the Greek word oikodespotes. Oiko means house, but despot, if you've heard of a despotic leader or someone who is a, quote, despot, it means that they're a king, they're a ruler, they're a governor. And God has called the wife here through the words of Paul. And this is Paul talking. Everybody thinks that Paul is hard on women. No, Paul gave women a great deal of latitude and control. He says, manage the house. Be a steward of the home. Be the house despot. Now, remember that show that used to be out, and I noticed you had some notes here on desperate housewives.
Right, yeah.
So there's a difference between a despot housewife, a biblical housewife, who is to manage and guide the affairs of the home, and a desperate housewife. Yeah. And a despot housewife is to guide the home. What does guide mean to you?
Right, to guide the home, you know what direction kind of you want your family to go, what you want to portray in your home. You want, like everybody around the supper table together, that your children wear clean clothes, that they make good grades in school, that you take care of your husband, that you have a happy family.
If we look at the fact that the husband is to provide, he has the vision.
Right.
The wife comes into sync with that vision.
Yeah.
Can two walk together except they be agreed?
Yes,
Amos 3 and
yes,
verse 3.
yes.
If any two shall agree on earth as touching anything they shall ask, it shall be done.
Right.
So God's plan is for husbands and wives to come together with a vision.
Right.
Provision out ahead. You know where the family's going. You know where God wants to take you. And then the wife is given that freedom and that flexibility and latitude then to walk in her gifts, use her talents, and beautify the thing. She was created to do that.
Right.
So, guide the house. Now, that's a despot housewife. Give me this. What you got here?
Oh,
Is that from one of your conferences somewhere?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. That's a virtuous woman versus a desperate housewife. I'll call it a despot housewife versus a desperate
okay.
housewife. Read a little bit.
Okay. Well, about 10 years ago, I just wrote this all just for fun at a women's conference we were doing. I'm going to read a few of them to you. The virtuous woman versus the desperate housewife.
It is so bright out here.
It is very bright.
Our
Sun's
faces
shining,
are
though.
dark, and I'm looking at this white paper. I'm about
It
to go
is.
blind.
Okay, the virtuous woman provides food for her family. The desperate housewife, she always expects her husband to stop and pick up something for dinner on his way home from work.
Okay.
The virtuous woman has no fear when it snows, for all of her family are clothed appropriately.
These are read right out of Proverbs
Right
31.
out of Proverbs, yes. The desperate housewife, she has no idea where the gloves, boots, and heavy coats are, and she had no idea it was even going to snow. The virtuous woman speaks with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. The desperate housewife, she gossips and complains, and she's into everyone else's business.
Yeah.
And I'll read
Skip
you
a few there.
more.
Pick out the best ones.
Yeah, okay. The virtuous woman sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for task. The desperate housewife, she puts off cleaning and laundry until another day, and she can't seem to gather enough strength to get herself off the couch. The virtuous woman's candle goeth out by night. The desperate housewife, she forgot to pay the electric bill. The lights went out last month.
That one's good.
And the virtuous woman is cheerful. The desperate housewife, she's bitter, she's angry, she's grouchy and moody. The virtuous woman is clothed in scarlet and purple. The desperate housewife, she's barely clothed at all.
Uh-oh. Preach it.
Yes. And that little side note I did was skirts up to here and shirts down to here. So my friends, this is the difference in a desperate housewife and a virtuous woman.
Okay.
Yes.
If you got the whole series, junk it or whatever. Let's go back to Proverbs. Okay, so we have provision, and then she's a guide for the house, a house despot, rules the house well, good steward, a good steward of the money that she either makes or that the husband makes and gives to her, good steward of the children, keeps them in the way, in the faith. Now back to Proverbs 31, we'll wrap this up. Verse 16, she considers a field and buys it.
Yes.
She must have some real latitude if she has the ability to make decisions on big expenditures. She considers. That means she thinks it through. She doesn't. She looks before she leaps. There's a lot of ladies, a lot of guys that don't do that. But notice this. From her profits, she plants a vineyard. You know, somebody says, I wear the pants in my house. Sounds like she wears pants too. Because she's out putting out a garden. She's building a vineyard. She's buying property. She's multitasking. She's the CEO of a company. You know, that's the beautiful thing about the way God has wired this vine that we talked about yesterday. Able to have her hands in all kinds of things and to be a good steward of everything that she touches. And then notice this, from her profits, she plants a vineyard. That doesn't just mean her allowance.
No. No.
I'm glad we didn't come into this marriage with a allowance requirement. But from her profits. In other words, she makes money herself. She has a way of, she sees a good deal. She makes money by her savings from being a good steward. She makes money by the fact that she is capitalistic. If she sees a good opportunity, a business, the right kind of stock, whatever it is, her husband trusts her decisions. And that's important. You know, I heard a lady one time when I was pastoring, I just don't trust him. I don't trust his decisions. Well, the easy answer for that is, well, he married you, didn't he? That's a good decision. Okay. Hope you've enjoyed this. Despot housewives versus desperate housewives. Let's look at one more thing there in verse 17. Read that and we'll sign off.
Verse 17, she girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms.
Okay, I want to stop there because, listen, there's no excuse in year 2020. How do I even say this? Anyway, there's YMCAs, there are gyms, there's a hill outside our house. We walk up and down it because we're trying to stay in shape. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
But this verse says you need to look good for your husband. You need to take care of your own health. Get off that potato, put down the potato chips, and get out there and pump some iron.
Right, and
Sign
it's
off for
healthy.
us.
It's healthy, and it gives you strength to do those things that we've been called to do. So have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed this. See you tomorrow.
Amen. Provision
Yes.
and stewardship. Take care.